my studio. It is 11 o'clock Mountain Daylight Time. And if you're like me, you're struggling to stay awake today. Okay, we are finishing up this is the final video for the Ladybug quilt along. I want to kind of do a recap about what I've demonstrated over the last couple of weeks and the products that we've used, and then talk about how I'm going to finish this and turn it into a darling little pillow. So the first week, first of all, pattern. This is the pattern that we used. You can also find the Ladybug pattern in the Garden Party Quilt booklet. So it's in here along with these others. But if you're looking for the kit, the Ladybug kit comes with the background fabric and all the fabric to make the collage. Okay, so the first week I demonstrated how to do the collage on parchment paper. So that was the very first week. That was 4 weeks ago. Now the beauty of parchment paper, the parchment pressing pattern, is that we can peel this off in one piece and it still has the steam on the back. And that allows me then to apply it to my background fabric. So here's another version of the Ladybug that's been put on the background fabric. Now the background fabric is about 9 inches by 9 inches. The idea is that it's just going to be a small, tidy little collage. You may, one thing I want to point out, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but sometimes I like to leave little holes in the collage so that the background fabric can poke through, show through. It just makes it a little more cohesive and a little more interesting. So this, then after this one, the second week was creating a pleasing composition. So we did, this isn't the same one, but the idea is the same, that we talked about creating a composition with additional fussy cut leaves and flowers. And that, I think, is a really, really important step. And it's something that I find really challenging to come up with a very pleasing composition. So that was the second week. Then last week, you saw I was out of town. I was teaching in Maryland. That was really fun. Hello to my friends in Maryland. But last week we had a pre-recorded video about the quilting. So the quilting, I'm just going to show you the background right now, or the back side. That is the back side of the quilting. And when I talk about dense quilting, now you can kind of see the dense quilting. So that was last week. Now this week is finishing the project and turning it into a darling little pillow. So I got a head start so you wouldn't have to watch me sew, and it gets a little loud to do that. But what I've done is I actually added a little border around this block. Now the entire block had been quilted, and then I added a border that is not quilted onto this. And the reason for that is that I can get the size just right, and it makes the stitching with the back of the pillow really super simple, so that I don't have to be stitching through the quilted part of my pillow. So this is where you will measure up, make it kind of fit your pillow, the size of the pillow. Now I have pillow inserts that are for sale on Collage Quilter, and they're perfect for this project because they are 10 inches by 10 inches. It's just slightly larger than the finished project, and that's because I always like to use a pillow that's a little bit bigger so that the finished pillow comes out really fluffy. The one thing I don't like is a pillow that's just the pillowcase is too small. I don't like that. I don't like to have empty space. I want it to be really, really full and firm. So these little pillow forms are for sale on Collage Quilter. They're what, $11, Amelia? Is that right? Yeah. $11 or something like that. And it's a down feather and down combo. So you will what you'll do is, after you get this all quilted, You'll hold it up to your pillow form, and you want it to be pretty close to the same size. It's okay if it's off by 1/4 to 1/2 inch, but you want it to be pretty close to the same size, because then you're going to have a seam allowance, and that extra seam allowance will just make it fit really nice and tight. So I've got about 1 inch border all the way around, and I should demonstrate that on this. This is my quilted piece, and then you can see I've added the 1 inch approximately. Well, I think I cut it at 1.5 inches, and then my seam allowance is probably 5/8 of an inch. So this is the finished quilted top with the approximately 1 inch border around it. Now, the other thing that I've done is I've cut 2 pieces of fabric that are the same size, the same width as my finished collage, and you can kind of see the ladybug right there. So I have 2 pieces that are the finished size width, but they're a little bit longer, so that I can create this lovely little envelope. And so I finished that edge just by stitching it and laid them on top of each other. And then I took that seam allowance and went all the way around. So we've got these pieces have been stitched all the way around together. And then I want to show you that I have reinforced the corners. So after I've gone all the way around it, then I do a diagonal cut or a diagonal stitching right in the corner, just to reinforce that corner. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut the that edge off right up to that line, and that's going to be my corner. I'm just cutting off the bulk so that we don't have to worry about, ouch, just cut myself. Emily, careful of these sharp scissors. Okay, so now this is ready to turn inside out, and I can get that nice crisp corner as I turn it out right side out. Okay, so now ideally I should press this, but I'm not going to worry about it right this second. And I actually just left my my selvage edge there because I just think that's kind of cute, the furry selvage edge. So here's the pillow, and it would be nice to go press these seams so that they're nice and open, nice and crisp. But there you go. Now let's shove our pillow insert in there. Give me just a second. Let's put it up here. Get kind of aggressive with this pillow insert. Now, one thing I want to make sure always that my, I will provide some instructions on the blog because we've got a blog post that talks about this little project. So I'll provide step-by-step instructions for this pillow. You can also find these instructions in my Take Flight book. Okay, I'm gonna make sure I get those corners. I want to make sure that I get the corner of that pillow right up in here because I like to have a crisp corner. Oh yeah, that's looking so cute. And really, I would not want my pillow insert any bigger. I think even if I were to make it a little smaller, that would be fine. But there we go. There is the finished little pillow that will be going to my friend who lost her daughter, and ladybugs remind her of her daughter. So that's the finished project. Won't that be a fun little gift to provide? And I really like the down too because it's, I don't know, it's just nice. So there we go. There's the finished project. Now let's ask any questions that you have. And Amelia is going to moderate. She's sitting right there. So you don't have to, you can do whatever you want with the ladybug block, obviously. You can do a pillow or not. You can use it in a quilt. Here is the garden party quilt. You can see the ladybug block there. Amelia, can you see that okay? Ladybug block. Okay, so that's that. Thank you everybody for joining me in this quilt along. It's been really fun to see everybody posting their ladybug projects in the Collage Quilter Academy Facebook group. So now let's get to questions. Amelia, does anybody have any questions for me about this project?
Did you use heat and bond or Steam-A-Seam?
Okay, somebody just asked, did I use heat and bond or Steam-A-Seam? I am a Steam-A-Seam gal. In fact, the version of Steam-A-Seam that I like is the light Steam-A-Seam 2. That's what I recommend, and that's the product that I use for all of my parchment pressing patterns. So when you're doing a project that is an Emily Taylor parchment pressing project, you will be told in the instructions to use light Steam-A-Seam 2. So all of these things are, oh, by the way, I guess I don't need to add this to the block because look, the pillow instructions are in the pattern. So anyway, okay, so light Steam-A-Seam 2 is my fusible of choice. Other questions?
How much are the pillow forms?
The pillow forms, this little 10-inch pillow form is $11 on Collage Quilter. Hope that answers that question. Easy, right? Okay.
How long did you make it to form the pocket?
Oh, great question. So the overlap to form the pocket, I cut mine at 12. So this was about my finished square was 10 1/4 inch, and I cut this at 12.5 inches, both pieces. So each of these pieces is 12.5 inches by 10.5. And I would probably, it looks like it's kind of peeking up here. I would maybe recommend a little bit more than that. So 13 inches would probably be good. Yeah, so this, and it just needs, and this is in the instructions, it just needs to be, you know, a couple inches overlap. And if you wanted to as well, you could do a little button hole right here and sew a button on the bottom. So that's
How much overlap on the pieces on the back?
Oh, that's the question I just answered about the overlap. So I have, let me show you. My overlap is, it looks like it's about 3 inches overlap. And I wouldn't go any less than that. I would say about, so there we go. Because as the pillow expands, it kind of pushes, but it's about a 3-inch overlap.
How do you sharpen the Karen K. Buckley scissors?
Oh, great question. How do you sharpen Karen K. Buckley scissors? You don't. I don't think, because they've got a serrated edge. So I think if they're dull, it's probably time to buy some new ones. So I don't know about sharpening these. I don't think that that's something you can do with serrated edges, but I might be wrong. So I would just buy some new ones. That's my suggestion. And then retire your old ones to be paper scissors. Other questions?
What are you doing next week?
What am I doing next week? Oh boy, that's a good question. So for the video next week, Amelia and I will be working on that. We've kind of just been, do we have something on this calendar?
I don't think so.
Okay, so I'm open to your suggestions, folks. We will be working on our upcoming calendar for the next quarter. And I apologize that I don't have that done right now. I've just been absolutely slammed teaching, you know, around the country. And I will be working on this week. My goal is to get the red stag quilt finished, the pattern finished. That quilt is finished. I gifted it to my dad for his birthday, for his 75th birthday, and he loved it. So I'm going to get that done. So maybe I'll talk about that a little bit more next week, but I welcome your suggestions.
Do you do on-site classes?
Somebody just asked, do I teach in person? Yes, I do, but I'm kind of limited in my schedule. I am careful not to overdo it because I really need to be a creator. And if I'm not in my studio creating, then I have nothing to share with you. However, with that being said, I do love to teach. I love to teach in person. And that's what I did in Maryland on a week ago today. And so Monday and Tuesday last week, I was teaching in person. And then I taught another big group in Utah on Thursday. So I've been busy teaching, and I need to clear my schedule now and just stay in my studio and work because I've got some really fun stuff. Some fun stuff we're working on. So I've got to get that done for you. But yes, if you email me, emily@collagequilter.com, I will send you some information about my classes, my workshops. Other questions, Amelia?
What is the cost of the Ladybug kit?
The cost of the Ladybug kit is $30. That includes the pattern, so the instructions, and all of the fabric for this much. So it does not include the fussy cutting leaves, but it includes all the fabric that you're going to need for the Ladybug, as well as the blue background fabric. Now, the fabric that I've selected, one thing I do want to point out is the fabric that I've used in all of these Ladybugs is a little bit different. And if you will have maybe a slight variation. And if you do, that's okay. Don't worry about it. What's important is the value changes. So you can kind of see the differences in fabric here, but they all turned out great. They all look perfect. So I'm happy with them. So other questions?
It also includes steam seam.
Oh, yeah, as well. Yeah, so the kit includes all of this as well as a package of steam seam. So it includes everything that you need to get to this point. It does not include scissors. I would recommend scissors too. So, okay, other questions?
Love the birds behind you. Is there a pattern online?
Ah, thank you. I love these birds too. So those patterns are in my Collage Quilter Essentials. This is what I call my Essentials book. So you can find step-by-step instructions for making these projects in this book. And the gray tone guide is in here as well. So that's in this book. This book also kind of contains my my color theory and how I think of color theory and how I apply that to fabric selection. It demonstrates my methods and the products that I like to use, and then it's got a few projects in it, including those birds. The book is $29.
How is your technique different than Laura Heine?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Somebody asked, how is my technique different than Laura Heine's technique? Well, I have never made a Laura Heine quilt, so I'm not super familiar with how she does things. All I can tell you is that when I do a collage, let me show you. Let me show you this. So all of my patterns come with a gray tone guide, right? And this guides fabric selection and fabric placement. And I select multiple pieces of fabric to go in one value area. So for example, this main red here, I don't use just one fabric. I use multiple red fabrics, multiple, and it doesn't matter how it's cut. I just make them fit in that area of the little collage. So you can see it's a little darker here. You can see that darker down here. And so that's my method. And again, I'm not super familiar with Laura Heine's beautiful patterns. They're exquisite, but I haven't made one, so I'm not sure. So other questions?
I want to do the roosters one. Will it be available?
Oh, the roosters. My goodness, I'm so excited about those roosters. And I am sorry that it's taking so long. Let me explain what I'm doing. I've designed my own fabric line to go to accompany the roosters. So I haven't wanted to release the rooster patterns until the fabric line is available. So we are working with a manufacturer in Korea right now. And the process is that I've sent them the files and I've sent them swatches that help them to see the fabric that the colors that I want in the fabric. And now they'll be sending back strike offs. And so we'll look at the strike offs, see how the color matches up to my artwork and my vision. And then as soon as we get to, approve the printing process, then the fabric will be printed and shipped. And it has to be slow boat shipped because we order it in a large quantity. So that's where we're at right now. I've been working on that fabric collection for probably 3 months now, and we're finally in the strike off phase. So we're working through this, and I'm hoping by summertime the fabric will be available for sale, and then we'll launch the roosters at that time. My hope would be that we can do a really fun quilt along in the summertime. Maybe, I would love to do it in May if possible, but we'll see how the fabric goes. And if I run into any big obstacles or delays with the fabric, then I may just go ahead and release the roosters. I don't know, but I've got some other stuff that I am working on as well. So that's the status with the roosters. I'm not going to give a date, and that's why it's taking a long time. But in the end, there will be 6 roosters, and you've seen a few of them. If you follow me on Instagram, that's a good place to get a sneak peek behind the scenes when I finish one of the roosters. And I've shown a couple times. I think I have 4 done now, and they are really, really fun. I'm excited to work on those with you. Okay. Any other questions?
I got the Ladybug pattern from the garden party pattern. How can I get the instructions for making the pillow?
Okay. Yeah, great question. So somebody has the Ladybug pattern from the garden party, and they want the instructions for making the pillow. Because the instructions for the pillow are included in this kit, not in the garden party pattern. What did we decide if there's another place to find the kit?
We have a
or to find the
video about making a pillow for something else.
Yeah, there's another YouTube video about making the pattern, but the other thing too, I suppose, if we'll either put it on the blog, or if you want to email me, I can send you that sheet of the pattern. So I'll figure out how to get that to you. Again, it's also in my Take Flight book, kind of the instructions about making a pillow. So, Amelia, my shirt matches doesn't it?
It does.
Ta-da! Okay. Any other questions?
Are the roosters going to be sold as kits?
Somebody just asked, are the roosters going to be sold as kits? Yes, the roosters will be kitted. We're still, again, kind of figuring out how we're going to sell those, because I think I'd like to make them available as individual roosters as well as a collection of roosters. So some of those things I just haven't figured out quite yet, but yes, my goal is to make them available as kits. Other questions, Amelia? Nope. Okay. Well, I want to thank you all for joining me today, and we will, good luck to you with your little pillow project if you choose to make a pillow. I hope that you'll continue to post in the Facebook group, the Collage Quilter Academy Facebook group. And I would also love to see what you're doing on Instagram. So if you can tag me on Instagram, that would be awesome. I'd love to be able to see your project. So my Instagram tag is collage.quilter. So everybody, good luck with your project. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been nice to have you. And this has been just a really fun little thing for me to do. and I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have. So I will be back again next week. That's Monday, live 11 o'clock in my studio, and hopefully you can join me again soon. Okay, see you later.